Lesson number 94 is about writing fractions and decimals as percents, and this is part 2 of that. Our first question is to change 1/3 to a percent. Now, you might know what 1/3 is as a decimal in your head, and if you knew that, you could change it to a percent right away. But if you don't, that's okay, because the way we can do this is to say 1 divided by 3. And that's going to help us change 1/3 into a percent. Remember, the numerator is the same as a dividend. It goes in the box. And our denominator is the divisor. So 3, it never goes into 1, so we get 0. We've got to add a decimal point. Decimal point comes straight up. 3 goes into 10. 3 times, we get 9. With 1 left over. We can add another 0. Bring it down. Well, 3 goes into 10 3 times. Well, we get 9. With 1 left over again. Well, you can see we have 0.33. If we add another 0, we're going to get 10 again. So this pattern of getting 3's will continue forever. So we could write it as this for our decimal answer. We could write 0.3 with a bar over the top of the 3, and the bar means it continues on and 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 on with that same pattern, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, forever. But we want a percent. So if we want a percent, let's go back to our original problem. We'll remove this 3, and you can see each time we have 1 left over out of 3. So to change it into a percent, we're going to have 33 and 1 out of 3 left over. Remember, percents mean out of 100, so this is in our hundredths place, 1/3 left over, so we get 33 and 1/3%. An alternative way that we could report our answer would be to say 33.3 repeating percent. Both of these answers are correct. Both of them will get you full credit. The key to this problem was remember that it's 1 divided by 3 when we go through our division. Let's look at our next problem. Here we want to write 1.2 as a percent. So remember, percents are always out of 100. So if they're always out of 100, or the hundredths place, we can see we have something in the ones place this time. If we just had 0.2, 0.20 is the same thing, that would be equal to 20%. Because we've got 20 hundredths and percents are out of 100. So an alternative way we could write this would have been 20 out of 100 equals 20%. But in this problem we have 1.2. So if 0.2 is 20%, then 1.0, that must equal 100%. Because that's the same as saying 100 out of 100, which is definitely 100%. So what we need to do to figure out our answer is add those together. Well, if we have 100% and we have 20%, we must have 120% as our answer. We figured out our problem. We can move on to the next one. Let's write 2 1/4 as a percent. So this one must be greater than 100% as well. 1/4, well, 1/4, that's the same as 0.25. And we know 0.25 or 25 hundredths is the same thing as 25 out of 100. So that must be 25%. We add 2 on top of that, so we're going to get 225% as our answer. We boxed it. We found our answer to this problem again. First we wanted to change our fraction to a percent, then add on the whole part. Let's move on to the next problem. Here we have 2 1/6 as a percent. Well, this must be 200 something percent. We just don't know what that percent is going to be. We can go ahead and work through the problem because we need to figure out what 1 divided by 6 is. 1 divided by 6, well, you may know that in your head, but if you don't, it's okay, because we can always do the division. 6 never goes into 1, so we get 0, and our decimal point comes straight up. Let's add a 0. 6 goes into 10, 1 time. 6 times 1 is 6. we've got a remainder of 4. We bring down a 0. Bring it down. 6 goes into 40. Well, 6 must go into 40 6 times. That's 36. We have 4 left over. Bring down a 0. We've got 40 again. 6 goes into 40 6 times again. We have 36 again. We've got 4 again. We could keep going with this pattern, but we don't have to. We know this is going to be equal to 0.16 with the 6, only the 6 repeating, because you can see 1, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, because it's always going to be 40 when we divide. So here is our decimal. Now to change this to a percent, we're going to have 16. Well, we could have 16.6 repeating percent, or as a mixed number, you can see when we have this, we always have 4 out of 6 left over, so we could have 16 and 4/6%, which is the same as 16 and 2/3%. So our answer? Well, we need more space. So let's erase our percent sign originally, because we've got a mixed number. We're going to get 200, and 1/6 is the same as 16 and 2/3. So 216 and 2/3%. We've got our final answer. We can go ahead and box it, and we can move on to the next question. Alternative way would be to say 216.6 repeating percent. Both answers will get you full credit because both answers are correct. We've got one more problem today. 20 of the 30 students on the bus were girls. What percent of the students on the bus were girls? So 20 out of 30 were girls. So if we reduce that, that means 2 out of 3. And if we want to figure out what 2 out of 3 is as a percent, we're going to have to divide. 2 divided by 3. Well, 3 never goes into 2, so we bring our decimal point straight up and add a 0. 3 goes into 20, 6 times, we get 18. With 2 left over, we add a 0 and bring it down. 3 goes into 20, 6 times. We've got 18. Again, we've got that repeating pattern. So we must have 0.6 repeating as our decimal. And if we want to write that as a percent, you can see we have 66 and 2/3%. So we've got our final answer. What percent of the students on the bus were girls? We have 66 and 2/3%. Sometimes to find a percent, it's helpful to write a fraction first, then to divide to find a decimal, then after you divide to find the decimal, then convert it to a percent. Lesson practice will be on page 505. Make sure you've got your notes complete, and I'll see you during our next class.